father was Tony Orlicky, and my mother was Sophie. We lived in a duplex, but ran the store at 2009 2nd Street Northeast. I was 11 going on 12, and at that time of the strike, people were coming in from all over the country. Our people, my dad and mother, hosted people from Ohio and Indiana. And in the basement of our store, we put up cots for these people that came in. Everything was kind of quiet and secretive. I was not to talk about what Ma and Dad were doing or what was going on. And if I remember right, there were probably about 9 cots in the basement down there. And we had a kitchen in back of the store. My mother cooked for the men. And she was a good cook, believe me, lots of soup. And sandwiches, rye bread. Then we had to walk up to Blackie's Bakery and get rye bread. And then we had the meat, of course, in the store, you know. And it was summer, so, and I had to be in to help Ma. But those were tough times, so there wasn't really a lot. And these men came in, Dad would pick them up, some drove. I can remember kind of a old-fashioned truck, like a milk truck. One man came in with that. And so there they were in the basement. And I wondered, did they know where they were going? Where was this strike? Where were they going down to? Where was it being held? And I was not allowed. The only time I was allowed to go down there, or they ate. Then I could hear what was going on. They ate upstairs. There were booths that my parents had in the store, and Mom would serve the food, and then I could listen in on what was going on, you know. I wasn't to talk too much or to tell anybody what was going on, my friends, and I had a very close girlfriend, and she never knew. I didn't say a word. We had a back door. They could come out. They came up from the basement, out the back door, and Dad had his truck there, and he'd take them down. See, we lived right across the street from a settlement house, the Northeast Neighborhood House. Mm-hmm. That man that ran it, Gilman, his name was a Presbyterian from New York. And that is why we had to be so quiet about everything we did over there at the store. It was just a matter of maybe 1,000 feet away, or so. I know Dad always said, "You don't know anything now. You don't know anything, you don't say anything." So, because I used to go over to the settlement house. I can remember one time my brother came home with his shirt all torn, and my mother cried. She says, "Oh, if you knew how hard Mama had to..." My mother made the shirt. She was the seamstress. And now what am I going to do? And he says, "Yeah, Ma, but I wasn't going to let them say anything about Dad and you." So there must have been word around in the school, I'm sure, going on. But I want to get back. So when it came time to go down to the strike, Dad would drive them down, or somebody from the union, or union people that were interested. And so then they went down there. And I can remember two boys from Minneapolis called the Snyder brothers, we called them, and boy, they were brawny, believe me. And they came to the store. They would come, and then I think would ride with my dad down to the strike. But boy, they were men that were really built. Now, isn't that funny? I should remember that. And I thought, oh, I wouldn't want to get in front of them. And they talked tough talk. If they were going to win, yeah, they were sure of that. They were going to win. When it came to pick up the men at night, Dad went down and picked them up, and some had been hit. You know, there was blood, and I remember one being hit in the head, and then somebody had a bad arm. I know there were killings, you know, but the names don't come to me. It was a bloody strike. It was tragic. It was all tragic because it's the how should I say it was done? Were there guns there? I think of guns. I've heard of guns. I heard of trucks being pushed over. It's what had to be done at the time. Yeah. My father was a very, very strong union man. He was a butcher by trade. He came up from Chicago, and the butchering trade was very strong there. So he was an organizer. And he ran then for office Northeast, but of course didn't get in. He lost by 2 votes. He ran for the Senate, lost by 2 votes. He was farmer labor and then Democratic farmer labor.
Okay, so
absolutely. He believed in union, and I still do. Yeah. I was in the Marine Corps, 2 years active, 3 years reserve. And when I came out, I'll have to tell you, I went to General Mills, and General Mills had a picnic one time, and somebody got a little fresh with me. So, and I quit. I quit General Mills, and 6 girls walked out when I did, because they had seen what happened. So, and then from General Mills, I went to the Soo Line Railroad, and I worked there for 38 years. In fact, they gave me that clock. Yeah, the railroad was wonderful. I love the union because you had a chance. You bid on a job. And one time I bid on this job, and the boss called me in and said, you know that this young man is bidding on this job with a family. And so I came out, and I didn't know if I should retract my bid or not. When I came out, the young man that was ahead of me, that had the bid, said, Florence, don't you give up. Don't you quit. You keep your bid in there. So I did. And yeah, a fighter. So, because my father was such a strong union person, I felt this was the way we had to go. this is the way we're going. And it was the right way.